What is going on? The BJJ report. Decided, here I am. I'm listening to some Deepak Chopra, which again, guys, you gotta know that 3 years ago, there's no way, absolutely no way. You find me listening to this stuff, right? Normally, I'm 3 years ago, nothing changes. Then today, I'm riding home and I'm listening to Rage Against the Machine. I'm listening to, some type of techno mix, happy Sunday, uplifting dance, indie dance party from Google's playlist, that type of thing. Today, I'm spending my time, instead of drinking, 3 years ago, I would have been drinking beer, hanging out, smoking some meats. Nothing wrong with all that. That's just what I would have been doing. That's what my whole day would have been wrapped around, smoking some meats. And there's nothing, and again, nothing wrong with that. But today, my day's wrapped around going to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and hanging out with the kids and, maybe doing a little woodcraft. We'll call it woodcraft, but it's really just me, shaking my head and looking at some, freshly cut wood and trying to decide what I'm going to do with it. And I bring this up because on the way to jiu-jitsu, I'm listening to this audio talking about, how all the things that you go and you get in the things that you go and you get in your life only bring you kind of momentary happiness. And I can use, Deepak mentioned the car that you drive. You get a brand new car, you're happy for, maybe 6 months with it, and then you're back to normal. You go get the brand new phone, and you're happy with it for about 6 months, and then you're 3 to 6 months, and then you're back to normal. Clothes or video games, these sundry items that after 2 to 3 months, the happiness level that they once brought levels out, right? He also talked about what look, man, he's done all the studies. He works with the Gallup polls, and he studies all this information, and they found out that the money that you make in your life only equates to about 10 to 12% of your happiness. Can you believe that? Can you believe that chances are you spend about 90% of your time identifying with the amount of money that you make, the job that you have, and the things that you have, where consequently those things aren't the things that bring you happiness. So who are you? Who you are? Aren't right? I know that's improper grammar. That's the fun part about saying it. Is who you are is not the things that you have. Who you are isn't even really the things that you do or the roles that you play in your life. When you think about it, who you are is it's really I love it. Justin's tagged us to do some really pretty cool stuff in this group of his, and it surrounds that, right? Who you are and who are you, and I was like, hey Justin Bailey, why don't you start us off with a real easy one. But when it comes down to it, who you are, we identify. And I went through this myself last year. It hit me pretty hard how I'd identified myself so much with just fatherhood for the rest of us. And the job that I had, the places that I was, and what it was that I was doing. I identified. That was my identity. And then, I realized that was quite literally just the movie that I was watching, and I had been scripted. I was reading somebody else's script for this life that I was supposed to have, and I was also allowing others to write my script for me. That, what up, Cliff? I was allowing others to write my script for me, and I was taking the lines that they were giving me, and I could hear myself saying them. And you could hear what's really interesting is in the groups that you're with, you can hear the ripple effect from somebody who is admired in the entire group, and maybe that person says something like once. I remember this guy Steve pod, or we'll call it what it is. He never listens, never checks in, and that's okay. I remember him saying somebody done yeoman's work, right? And then I remember everybody else in the group, like, that rippled out. He said it once, and then everybody was saying it for like a good 3 or 4 months. But the thing was, somebody else had written that script. That was a script that he'd written for himself. And then that programmed everybody else. Like, if you admire somebody, if you admire something that they're doing, that means that you've accepted it into your subconscious, and you've taken hold of that. That's taken root in you. And you're going to see that pops up in your life. You're going to see that pops into your way of thinking and who you are and your way of being. You're taking on somebody else's script, and you don't even notice it. I got a challenge for any of you. Check out somebody you admire and see something that they're saying. You're going to see that whatever phrase it is that they said is going to pop up in your life, or like anybody else that you're surrounded by. You all start talking the same. You basically have this tribal influence. I did an interview last night with Jeremy Roadruck, and tribal knowledge, right? It isn't just like your parents, but it is. Like, look at your parents, look at your high school friends, look at your college friends, look at the friends that you surround yourself with. You guys keep everything that you know in between each other, and you keep that pretty tight, and you all believe, and you all taking that on. And that's all become a part of what you think is your identity. But those are lines and scripts that you've just accepted, that everybody else has written for you. And you're doing that subconsciously. You're doing that. You're not even aware of it. You're not even paying attention to that. So what happens, again, if you take a note one day, a couple days this week, what's everybody saying around you? And then catch yourself. Are you saying what somebody else is saying that week, within 2 weeks? Does it pop up again? What are the people around you saying? And are you repeating it? Are you aware that you're repeating it? Do you recall when that entered your mind? Do you recall where those thoughts came from? How did it come to be that you're saying whatever it is that you're saying? You've accepted a script from somebody else. Who you are is everything that you've been given. And you haven't accepted all that on purpose. Everything that you are today is happened subconsciously. Like, the vast majority of us, we'll call it 97% of us, we are who everybody else has told us that we are. And we have not separated who we want to be from who we have been told that we are. Right? Right? Try that out. It's like freaking Velcro. Try to release some of the, I've always been this way. This is how I've always been. I'm never going to, why would I change? This has served me so well. Has it? Do you love the life that you have? Do you absolutely love where you are today? Do you have a dream of someplace that you'd rather be, but there's a whole bunch of I can't standing in the way? Gentlemen, I was speaking to on the way out of BJJ today, God bless his heart. Older gentleman, a little bit more portly, and a smoker. All right? I walked out the door, and look, I used to smoke. I smoked for 16 years. Walked out the door. I said, hey, bub, when are you hopping on the mat? He goes, I can't. I smoke. I was like, okay. Well, yeah, I remember I used to smoke too. And I smoked for like 16 years. I was like, how much is a pack of cigarettes these days? It's like $9 a pack in New Jersey. Okay. All right. So round numbers, around 120 a month for jiu-jitsu. And he was smoking 2 packs a day. Which one of those is an investment in who you are? Which one of those is an investment? Meaning there's going to be a return on investment, meaning that whatever you put into it, there's a greater use value than cash value. That's what an investment entails. Or is he spending? Is he wasting? Is he throwing his life away? So, 2 packs a day, that's $600 a month. Rough numbers. So he could go to BJJ and he goes, I'm too fat. God, dude, I've seen some big boys coming through. I see some big boys coming through. He's no bigger than anybody I've ever seen in there. I've seen some big boys at Shell Shock Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu come in at 400 pounds, drop down to 225 in less than a year. Don't tell me you're too big. So you got your stories. You've got who you've told yourself you are. You've got who you've accepted everybody's telling you that you are. And you're making a choice at a certain point. At a certain point, you realize that you're making this huge choice in your life to say, I am all these things. I accept everything everybody said about me. And that's easy because that's my mirror, right? That's what everybody's giving me. I may as well feed that right back. And as long as that circuit continues, that's who you will be. You will be who everybody has told you that you are. What's up, Chris? You have the opportunity to make a decision and say, is this who I still want to be? Again, separating who you tell yourself that you are versus who everybody else has told you that you want to be. And you can do that starting right now. There's nobody living the dream. Too bad that's somebody else's. Huge script I've heard my entire life, working life. Yeah, well, that's right. Now that's not to say that, going out and having a job and working for somebody else doesn't afford you to begin to live your own dream. You can start to live your own dream while you're helping somebody else build theirs, right? Because at a certain point, once you realize what it is, what the impact that you bring to your life, the impact that you bring to the world just by going to the job that you've got, it stretches beyond you. You're serving the people that you work with is one way. I've been reading the John C. Maxwell 21 Indispensable Qualities of a Leader, and in one of those qualities is putting a 10 on everybody's head. If you walk around and you just see everybody as a 10, and all you're doing is you're looking for good, especially even just with your coworkers, you're automatically going to change the character of who you are. You're going to change the character of who they are. And there's going to be a ripple effect. And now you say, all right, everybody that I see is a 10 at work. Well, how about everybody I see outside? Are they a 10 too? Everybody you see is a 10. All day, every day, everywhere you look is a 10. Looking at yourself, you are a 10. Everybody's a 10, right? In Florence Scovel Shin's book, she talks about in the Middle East, everybody says namaste, right? I salute the divinity within. If all you see is the God, the universe, everything, that's all you see in everybody, that's all there is to see, then what else is left to see, right? So even if you're living somebody else's dream, you can begin to explode that image from within. All you got to do is change the way you see things. So are you living somebody else's dream? That's one way to see it. And as long as you keep seeing it that way, as long as you keep feeding that to yourself, that's what you're doing. I do it. I've done it. And I still fall into the trap. This isn't easy. It's not like you just step right out of the skin that's been surrounding you on your entire life. You gotta claw the fuck out of that. You gotta claw out, man. It's a battle for you. All you're doing is winning your own life. It's a battle. You are fighting for your dream. You're not fighting against anybody else. You're not struggling for anything else. The only thing you're doing is you're living for you. And once you start living for you, then everybody sees that. It's not selfish. Do you think everybody around you wants you to have a crappy life? Do you think the universe spit you up and was like, hey, Cliff, hey, Chris, hey, Russ, go live a crappy life. That's why I gave you 1 in 400 trillion chance to live this life of crap. No, the universe doesn't spit you up and say, hey, live a life of crap. Maybe that's what you've been fed. Maybe that's a story that you've read. Maybe that's everything that you've ever seen. But as soon as you start feeding yourself, as soon as you start telling yourself that you're living your dream, that everybody around you that you see is a 10, you're living your dream, especially when you start looking at yourself as a 10. Sorry, Cliff. Thanks for the input on that. And then at a certain point, man, you grow beyond that job. You grow beyond yourself. You're stretching, you're growing, and whatever's next, right? You're living somebody else's dream. You're beginning to live your life. You are beginning to separate what you've been told that you are, who you've been told that you are, into who you tell yourself that you are, and who you want to be. Who do you want to become can start today. You're never too old. I love Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for this because it exemplifies that. I love all martial arts because it exemplifies that. Talking to Jeremy Roderick last night, and he's a martial arts instructor. He's had people start as old as 60. And he was talking about, I think, his own martial arts grandmaster who started at the age of, I think, 50 and still became a grandmaster. Countless stories. I mean, the ones we all know are like the stories that we all know, of course, like Kentucky Fried Chicken, right? 60s, and finally becomes a millionaire. All these, there's so many stories out there that if you keep telling yourself that you're beyond your prime, then you're right. Just like Henry Ford. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. So, who do you want to become? Where are you today? And that's as simple as a stat. That's it, right? That establishes the gap. That says, now you say, who am I today? Who do I know has done what I want to do? Reach out to them. Have the conversation. It's not impossible. None of it is impossible. The only thing that's impossible is when you tell yourself that it's impossible. When you set up your limiting beliefs, i.e., I'm a smoker, I'm too fat, I was up late last night, I can't because... Went to the Jack Canfield event. And guys, I want you to try this for yourself. I want you to tell me why you can't do something. Tell me all the reasons why you can't do something. Why can't I cook this meal today? Why can't I eat meat? Why can't I eat corn? Why can't I eat a better diet? Why can't I exercise this week? Why can't I find time this week for XYZ? And take that word can't and get fucking rid of it and replace it with, I won't eat more healthy this week. I won't make time for the gym. I won't eat more corn. I won't. You have the power with just simply your words, the way that you talk to yourself, and what you believe in to make that change. So you are exactly who you tell yourself that you are, and your choices make up who you are. So you say, I am this guy because that's all I've ever known, that's all I want to be, and it's in my comfort zone. If I leave this, I don't know what's on the other edge of this. And if you're willing to settle for that life, if you're willing to let it be at that, that's also a choice. And if that's, look, I mean, I'm not telling you that you're not bringing greatness. I'm sure that you're out there, you're touching lives. I'm sure that you're saving lives. I'm sure that you're bringing joy and hope and glee and a number of other things into lives. And I think that as fathers and parents, too, one thing that we sacrifice is ourselves. And we say that we're sacrificing ourselves for our children. And sometimes I got to wonder, is that true? Or are we sacrificing ourselves because we don't know the potential of what we could be? Do we want to sacrifice ourselves for our children and then tell our children they can be everything that they can be, and then we don't do that ourselves? We stop being everything that we think that we can be because we are sacrificing our lives for our children. So are we sending them a mixed message? Or what are we doing, right? So, guys, who are you is the question, right? And I got a buddy, Justin Bailey, who is starting a men's coaching program that's just amazing. He's allowed me to participate in that. That's spinning up in September, and he's offering like this coaching program, and he's got like about 8 coaches, myself as one of those included, to go through material like this with you as men. And the price point he's offering is ridiculous, and then he's even offering it to say, look, if you can't make the price point that he's offering, he's willing to figure out a way to get you this amazing coach. I mean, it's not just me, it's like, again, 8 amazing dudes that one of them's bound to be your fit, and 8 sessions a month, and walking you through breaking through some of this stuff, having these breakthroughs, and understanding that you are exactly who you tell yourself that you are. And as long as you keep telling yourself the same story, that's who you'll be. That's who you will be. And once you change the story that you tell yourself, you're going to change your entire life. So again, a couple of things that we hit on in here is like, look at everybody as a 10. Everybody you see is a 10, yourself included. Cliff, you're talking about, again, seeing you're working at a job and you're working somebody else's dream. That can be true as long as that's what you keep telling yourself. Or you can go in there every day and look at everybody as a 10 and just give that to everybody. Can you give everybody a 10? If you can give everybody a 10 of who they are and who you are, man, you're starting to live your own dream, and you're starting to bust that, we'll call it the paradigm. We're starting to break through the paradigm. Guys, that's it from me. Appreciate you tuning in. Steve Bongiorno, thanks for having Southern Jersey Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is the inspiration for today. Just driving that one home for me. And Cliff, thanks for the inspiration, throwing that out there, living somebody else's dream. Take it easy, guys.